Welcome to Wellness in Reach, a Mount Carmel podcast. I'm your host, Maggie McKay. Joining us is Bridgette Paolucci, patient of Mount Carmel Health System, to tell us her story about bariatric weight loss surgery. Thank you so much for being here today, Bridgette.
Thank you for having me, Maggie.
What inspired you to pursue bariatric surgery, and what was the turning point that made you say it's time for a change?
I had struggled with my weight loss since I was a little kid. And that was hard for me. Even at my heaviest, I knew that my weight was a problem, but I figured this Band-Aid diets would help with that. And it didn't help because something had to help, but it never did. I would see pictures of myself with my kids at the park, and I was wondering, where was I at? And I realized I was at home. I was keeping myself from having this experience with my kids because I was overweight. And that's what really inspired me, is not seeing myself with my kids or having memories with my kids outside. So that was really the turning point.
So before surgery, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, physically, emotionally, or socially?
Yeah. So physically, I had bad knees because I carry so much excess weight. That was my biggest. I didn't have a lot of comorbidities. High blood pressure was my only other one. So it's just being overweight, bad knees, and high blood pressure. Emotionally, it was keeping myself from my kids because I didn't feel comfortable going outside. And that was a big emotional trigger for me. It's like, I don't want to embarrass myself or embarrass my kids or my family. And then I always put myself in a really small box. So it was socially, I would sit in the back, or I would really squish myself to the corner so I didn't take up that much space. And that was my biggest struggle for my weight loss surgery.
And how did Mount Carmel help you prepare mentally and physically for the surgery and the lifestyle changes that followed? Because after the surgery, it's a whole new ballgame, right?
It really is. And the prep was amazing. They let you know ahead of time, like, this is a list of things you need to accomplish, whether it's appointments or tests or just mentally preparing yourself for it with you and your family. They really did. So as I checked off items on the list, it really became more real. And that got you excited, but also got you really nervous. But they were really comforting. They would let you know there was always someone with you along the way. And if you had questions, call this number. Someone's always there to help you. And that was really big factor in me feeling comfortable with proceeding with the surgery with the bariatric team at Mount Carmel.
Right, because you can't just be left on your own after something that big and life-changing. What was the most surprising part of your post-surgery journey? Something you didn't expect?
I didn't expect to not have a mental change. So I lost the weight, my size reduced, but I thought I'd be more comfortable with myself and my body. And I wasn't. I still had that overweight mentality. So that was my biggest thing. I still felt like I was taking up space. And a lot of it came from food afterwards. I couldn't handle carbonation. It burns my throat. I can't eat chocolate ice cream or rice or anything with a high in starch because it'll make me really sick. Hot coffee. So no more coffee, no more caffeine. And that was really hard. Like, you don't drink coffee? Like, no, I can't drink coffee anymore. I could do iced coffee decaf. And that's not the same as a big cup of hot coffee. So that was sad. And like, you had to come to terms with that. But that was okay because those things got me to the point where I was overweight. And I'm okay with not having those anymore.
I'm still back at the chocolate ice cream. That would be tough. So you can never have it. It still makes you sick now?
Yeah, even 4 years out, or almost 4 years out, I'll have a bite and it just immediately turns my stomach. And it's so sad. But I can have like ice cream with chocolate sauce on it. Like, it's almost the same thing, but straight up chocolate ice cream, nope.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, it was worth it. But how did your relationship with food and exercise evolve after surgery?
It was coming to terms with the fact that an ounce of water could be a big struggle. In the beginning, that's all you could really have. And then slowly working up to bigger sizes of fluid or sizes of food portions. That was really hard because sometimes your body triggers you, like, you're hungry, but you can't eat that much, or you need to drink something, but you just ate. So you have to wait. And that was hard, finding that balance of setting alarms to remind you to drink and then setting alarms to stop drinking because you got to eat here soon. That was really big. And then the items, the junk food, you can get over that. You can get over not having carbonation or pop or anything, but it's a mindset thing. And that was one of the biggest struggles.
I bet. Were there any setbacks or moments of doubt along the way? And if so, how did you overcome them?
The biggest setback is when I woke up from surgery, I immediately started throwing up. And I continued to throw up for several days after. And it was really scary. Like, what went wrong? Like, am I the outlier? Like, I'm going to have all the problems. There really was just my body like, hey, you just took out a big chunk of our stomach. What are you doing? And after that, once my body got used to it, it became better. And I wasn't expecting that. I was really scared. My kids were scared because I was in the hospital longer than I was supposed to be. But it was that once you got used to it, it was okay. And the doctor's like, everything's fine. You're good. It's just you got to get used to it. And I think it was hard. And I'm okay with that now. And it's okay. The doubts I had was more like, is it going to work? And I knew the surgery would work. It would be my own mentality of letting it work and knowing that I have a tool, I've got to use that tool. And I had this surgery for a reason. I need to keep that reason going. And so that's how the doubts became less once I realized like this is for me, for my health, for my future.
Right. And it's a big commitment to do the
Yeah.
surgery and all the work before and after. What led you to choose Taekwondo as part of your fitness journey?
Huh. Funny enough, my daughter was going off to college and her and my husband would do the adult class together and he needed a buddy. So I'm like, okay, I was about 4 or 5 months out after surgery and I lost a bunch of weight. I felt more comfortable getting in a white suit and being at that point, I was like 39, almost 40. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it ended up being the greatest thing ever. It was fun. You're there 2 or 3 nights a week and you do all the exercises, stretching. And I wasn't the only older person there. I wasn't the only new person in their 40s, trying to do a sport. So that was fun. And it was the best thing I could have ever done for myself.
And I know you're not going to brag, Bridgette, but I'm going to brag for you. You earned a black belt. That is huge. What an
Yeah,
accomplishment. What did
thank
that
you.
process, yeah, what did that process teach you about discipline and resilience?
One of the key factors of Taekwondo is discipline and respect, and not only giving it to others, but giving it to yourself. So it's a lot. 10 weeks, you learn first half of your form, and then it takes 20 weeks to learn your whole form. And I recently became a second degree black belt, which was like, yay, that's exciting. But then you
Wow.
realize, there's 82 moves in the full form of a secondary black belt. And it's a lot of discipline to remember those moves. And there's a lot of kicking and feet position, your hand positions. Your head has to be a certain way in a certain direction. And it's a lot. You really have to discipline yourself on remembering the moves, practice them daily if you can, whether you're actually physically doing it or running the moves in your head. It is a lot. And you have to be respectful of your instructors who are teaching you because they're taking their time out of their day and these are their lives and they're training you to be a better person. And I'm respectful to them and they're respectful to me. And even when I'm down on myself, like, I can't do it. He's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I do it. It's like, look, you did it. And I'm like, yeah, I did it. So it really is just, you really have to discipline yourself and know that you can do it. You just got to wait for your body to catch up with you that you can.
Right. I bet you blew away your children. I bet they were so proud of you and your
Yeah,
husband.
we're actually a family of black belts. So, it's great.
Wow. How has martial arts impacted your confidence and your overall outlook on life, your point of view?
Oh, see, I still don't have a whole lot of confidence. I still struggle with the overweight mentality, even though I've lost a lot of weight. But Taekwondo helps with that because you put yourself out there at testing in front of everybody, family and friends, your other classmates, and you do your form and you do it to your best of your ability. And that tunes it out. And then you have the confidence in yourself that, yeah, you know the form, you're doing it. And that's great. And so I really love that part of it is that I can do this stuff. And then the weight loss and the bariatric program, it helped me realize like I can go out with my kids. I can ride a zip line with my kids. I can climb ropes and I ride a bike. And you have to get over your mentality of like where you are and like you can do this stuff. You have the confidence to do it. And I'm so much better because of it.
That's awesome. So, for someone considering bariatric surgery or struggling with weight loss, what's one piece of advice you would give them today?
I would say repeating the same mistake over and over again, it just prolongs your happiness. And it's not going to hurt to make a phone call, to sit down with a doctor or a nurse and ask your questions, go over all your options. There's surgical options and there's also non-surgical options. It's just better to take that step and at least get some questions answered rather than sitting and wallowing and, wishing you had done something when you could be doing something, even if it is just asking a question. And when I found Mount Carmel, I needed it in that point in my life. And my journey may have taken a long way to get there, but I got there in my own time. And everybody has their own journey and they'll get there. It's just the sooner you start the process, the sooner you'll start being happier and start living your best life.
It sounds like Mount Carmel is very supportive and has thought of everything you would need going through this.
They really have. And there's 2 meetings a month for the bariatric program, and the dietitians, they're constantly asking questions from us, how we're doing, they could do better for you. And you have all the other bariatric patients there asking questions and going through the same struggles or different struggles. And we're all a big community of helping each other be our better selves and getting our goals through the weight loss program.
That's so good to hear. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. It's been really informative as well as moving. We really appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Again, that's Bridgette Paolucci. Visit mountcarmelhealth.com/bariatrics for more information on weight loss options and a pre-screening application. Thanks for listening to Wellness in Reach, a Mount Carmel podcast.